Hello guys, I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're having a great time. This is AfriPost and welcome to today's video. Now, the other day I did a video about a white preacher telling a white audience about the challenges that black people went through during the slavery period. The preacher was spot on and he highlighted some of the atrocities that whites committed against blacks during that time. Now, in today's video, I want us to look at this clip where a young Kenyan stand-up comedian was speaking in the West. She highlighted the challenges of colonization in Africa and talked about an array of issues affecting black community. The audience might not have liked it, but she had to speak about what is going on in Africa and also to blacks in other parts of the world. Let's listen to this clip and then react to it at the end.
And this is what I don't understand. Europe is always lecturing Africa on democracy. Seriously, Europe has no place in lecturing Africa on democracy. Having sold Africans into slavery for 500 years and colonized us for 100 years, seriously, Europe lecturing Africa on democracy is as ridiculous as FIFA lecturing Nigeria on corruption. I was little, my brother and I, my father bought us a little pet dog. And it was very unusual because in Africa, we don't keep pets because it's very difficult to love our predators. And Africa has very many predators: lions, crocodiles, snakes, buffaloes, the white man. But you know, I found out that white mothers motivate their children to eat by getting them to think of a starving African. I'm like, what the fuck? Seriously. Like, white mothers motivate their children to eat by getting them to think of a starving African. We just use spices. Because when white people do one thing, it's called one thing, and black people do that exact same thing, it's called something else. Like poaching, hunting, terrorist, lone wolf, priest. It's insane. About race, because privilege is taken. That is why. We talk about race to highlight our plight. You know, we don't talk about race to make white people feel uncomfortable. We do that anyway without even trying. And this is it, because people are always asking me, why is it that Africans are such fast runners? I say it's our fastest mode of transport. But the truth of the matter is we're always running away from something. We're always running away from hungry wildlife, angry tribesmen, neo-colonial legacies. So the Europeans arrived in Africa to find a continent without borders, and they started marking their territories using flags. I believe animals do the same, but with urine. And so the Europeans arrived in Africa. They destroyed our cultures. They looted our artifacts. And now Europeans are complaining that Africans are coming to Europe for economic reasons. Why else? To polish our artifacts. Seriously.
I know for a fact that most Africans don't actually know African history. Most of Africans don't actually know that they were colonized. Most Africans don't actually know that about the slave trade. They don't actually know. This is because Africa is a very young continent. Something like 75% of people in Africa are under the age of 30. And we have been let down because of the lack of knowledge of our history. Most of African countries were colonized, and they were colonized with the use of very grotesque violence. King Leopold II of Belgium killed 10 million Africans in 7 years. And the ones he didn't kill, he chopped off the baby's hands and feet. The Germans in Namibia, they got people to decapitate their families, and so that they could take the skulls back to study. The British in Africa. Why are we not learning our history? And the reason Africans are not taught our history, because it's too painful. It's too painful, and people don't actually want you to know the horrors that have been dished out on Africans. Because the only thing that they want to show us is that Europeans come to Africa to give us aid. Europeans do not care about Africans. They sold Africans into slavery. And when slavery was supposedly over, They colonized Africans and they turned them into slaves in their own homes. Now, and this history is so recent. It's so recent. We celebrate, Kenya only celebrated its independence about just over 50 years ago. It's so recent. Your parents will tell you this history. We need to insist that Africans are taught our own history to control our narrative. The missionaries did not bring religion to Africa. We were already religious. The reason Africans are religious is because we were already religious. For example, my tribe, the Gikuyu people, we already worshipped Gai, our God, who is omnipresent, who is invisible to the naked eye. And the only thing that made us go into the churches was because our God Gai says that we mustn't worship in man-made temples. And therefore we worshipped under sacred trees, and they cut down those trees in order to prove to us that our gods did not exist. We need to know who we are. It's the only way we can move forward, by understanding where we come from.
Now, if you've listened to that whole clip, I don't know, what do you really think about that comedy? Because for me, it was kind of satirical, and it was really highlighting the key issues that Africa and blacks are going through. So one thing that really I like about this video is that the lady has really hit the nail on the head. She highlights the key issues and the double standards that most European countries and the West tend to really come with in Africa. They come and lecture us about how we should govern ourselves. And it's like they have created a standard within which they feel that these standards are the best for governing people, not understanding that we have different cultures, we have different ethnic backgrounds, we have different likings and understandings. So it is very difficult to understand how some Europeans really think they can come to Africa and lecture us on certain things. Look at even issues like wildlife conservation. It is whites who come to Africa and they hunt the thing that is always called treasure hunting. They come kill wild animals and then go back with their trophies saying that they have treasure hunted. But then they are killing wild animals that are in Africa. So sometimes I try to ask myself, there are those who always come and tell us that they are fighting for conservation, wildlife conservation and everything. Yet when they come to Africa, they do things that are really not worth talking about. How on earth do you speak about wildlife conservation when you are the one who comes in Africa, kills wild animals in the name of treasure hunting, then go back in your countries and start lecturing Africans about how to conserve environment and all those things? I think she has really been very helpful to us as Africans and told our story as it should be. And these platforms are always very good for us to tell our story, because there is no good platform where you will really find a bunch of whites ready to listen to us. So such kind of a platform, when you get it as an African, I think it is always a really, really good thing to really express yourself the way you should. And it also impresses me that she comes from Kenya, a country that I also proudly am a citizen. So she has really done us proud there, told our story, told how Africans went through certain challenges that were very despicable, and that Africans also need respect, and people need to understand that we as a people also are human beings with proper minds and able to make decisions for ourselves. I think Europe and the entire Western nations must come together and stop their holier-than-thou mentality of coming to Africa and dictating us on what we should do. They must understand that we as a people also believe in ourselves, and we must do things as we want them. I don't know what you think about the topic. Please, if you're watching us for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Please also remember to give me your opinion down in the comment section so that I may also understand your perspective about the issue, because it is a very, very interesting topic, and I like the fact that the lady has been very eloquent in putting these issues out there to be heard. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.